Oh, there. Okay, awesome. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for calling in for our first weekly Dreamers in Action team call of 2017. Super, super excited to have our guest and my dear friend Todd on the phone or on the line with us tonight. Some of you may know Todd, some of you may not, but I always like to kind of break the ice before I intro someone and hopefully embarrass them, but just to tell funny stories. But when Todd was out here about a month ago or 2 months ago and we did a Start Opportunity meeting together, I started to just ask some questions, about like who was doing this and that. And I said, well, what are you wearing tonight? And he was like, jeans and like a start shirt. And he's like, I don't really do dressy very well. And he's like, well, what are you wearing tonight? And I was like, a dress. I don't do casual very well. And that's like the epitome of our friendship. And so we met, through the industry, through our company, really through Facebook, and have just been friends over the last couple of years. And for those of you that don't know, his older sister, Siddons, who's the Start Ambassador, he's a part of Alexis Romano's team. She was the 100th millionaire. Comes from a powerhouse team in New Jersey, but he is just very, very unique. And even though I like to give credence, maybe where they came from, I like to highlight Todd for Todd because he does things his own way and he's super fun and super down to earth and just going to drop some genius with you guys tonight. So before he tells his story, just so that you guys know, he's from the East Coast, has a somewhat like sports and fitness background. And I'm going to not drop the quote that I hope he drops tonight in his story of really just kind of what got him into massive action. But he's a part of Start 1000. So for those of you that may or may not know that is the six-figure income earners between the ages of 18 and 35. He's a 4-star Golden Circle. And he just brings so much wisdom and grace and fun to network marketing, specifically to Isagenix. So Todd, will you hop out and just say hi and start with your story tonight, please?
Oh my goodness. So that's the nicest introduction anyone's ever given me. And usually it's my sister introducing me. So the competition is probably pretty stiff, and that was way better than she's ever done. So yes. So thank you so much, Lauren, for having me on the call. You guys, I'm sure you're aware, Lauren is a powerhouse, not just in Start, but in the entire company. And so to be asked to be on her call is super duper amazing. So I'm excited to be able to share whatever the heck that it is that I've learned in 2.5 years of doing this with you guys. So you guys probably haven't heard me tell my story before unless you have been to the Start event that Lauren and I actually did together. So before Isagenix, I was living and working out in Long Island. And as most people who know me know, which of course is none of you, I really didn't like it there. It's not a bad place, and there's obviously lots of like really wonderful people, but it wasn't for me. And that being said, I had a pretty good situation out there. I had a good job, I had good vacation time, a good salary, enough salary left over to like use my vacation time. So it was good. But I wasn't passionate about it. And I grew up in a house where my dad always told me to find something you like to do, find something you're passionate about, and find a way to get paid for it. I think we've all heard that before, but I just remember thinking like, it's just so unfortunate that what I'm passionate about is not medicine or law or like, I don't know, solving something really important, right? Anything that I thought could give me like a really amazing life. And so I was introduced to Isagenix by my sister CG, as Lauren mentioned, and it's probably like 4 years ago at this point. And if, again, none of you guys have heard me tell my story before, but like my sister really could have been like arrested for harassment or bullying or something in most states because she was really, really aggressive the way she would reach out to me. And, for 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, I told her no. And I think it did start out politely, and it was no thank you. And then progressed into like stop bothering me, and then it progressed into like stop bothering my friends, But it's not that I didn't support her, because I did. I wanted to see her do well. I told all my friends if they wanted to lose weight or, gain lean muscle, or if they wanted like more money or something, they should go talk to her. But my mindset was, that's not my thing, right? That's her thing. I had my own job. I had my own protein. I didn't need her job and protein, right? And then I found out in April of 2014. I knew she was doing well. Like I was on Facebook a little bit, so I was well aware of what was happening in her life, but not really. I hadn't done like the numbers in my head, right? And we had a conversation, and I found out she was making more in a month than I was making in a year. And I remember thinking like I took a wrong turn in life. Like I really, truly, I just took a wrong turn, because there's no way that my sister, who, I love her to death, but I was like, she's not good at math. She's not good at spelling, right? Like all these things that you're able to say if you're someone's brother or sister. And now I feel bad about it. I was like, how is she doing that? Because I had a good job, and she was, making more in a month than I was making all year long. So I was like, we grew up in the same house, same schools, same parents. So I took a wrong turn in life, and I was like, you know what, like, this really doesn't have to be her thing, right? It can be my thing too. And I dove in, and it wasn't with like a toe or a foot. It was, head first, like eyes closed, whatever. And I always wonder, I look back and I heard a quote at an event. It was like March of 2015. I was at an event, and the speaker said, he was going on and on about a bunch of different things. And he said, the enemy of a great life is a good life. The enemy of a great life is a good life. And that was me at that point, right? Because again, I had a good life. I had all these things that I thought were good. I had I had the good salary, the good vacation time, and it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't like I was earning $1 million, but I was okay. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, that was me for so long. Because I think a lot of times, like, we look around and, if we're at rock bottom, and I think we know some people that were like that in this business. We've ever been to an event before. We hear their story and we're like, oh my God, like they were, down to their last penny and they didn't have a couch to sleep on or whatever. Right. It was probably a very easy decision for them to just do whatever. Right. But if you're someone that was like me and you're like, no, why do I need something else? I'm good. Then I think we probably, our stories resonate a little bit. So anyway, step one was obviously ordering the products. And I had already started to get serious about my health. And so isogenics was going to be like a natural next step for me. And then within a few days, like, I knew what my sister had been talking about, the protein, like, it felt cleaner than anything I'd done before. The Onyx Supreme is like still my favorite product ever. I don't even really know what an adaptogen is or what it does. Lauren, I'm sure, is well aware of what those things are. I don't even care. I just know that I feel good. Right. So I was pretty hooked on the products, and between like that and the fact that like I was watching all of these people in my life have success in the business, I was just ready to run. So now it's been like, I guess, 2.5 years since I started. I'm no longer living on Long Island. I'm no longer like counting my blessings for 2 or 3 weeks of vacation every year. I'm not searching for my, passion that my dad always talked about, because I get to live it every day. I left my full-time job in the fall of 2014. So I've been doing this full-time for about, I guess, 2 years now, which it doesn't even feel that long. But yeah, I got out of Long Island. I moved back to Jersey for a little bit. I spent the summer in Chicago. I took a 2-month road trip, which is where I connected with Lauren. We did that event in Denver while I was on my way out to California. And now I'm living in, where the heck am I? I'm in Santa Monica right now for hopefully a long time, but who the heck knows? If I get, it's cold in Chicago right now, so I wanted to go somewhere warm. But again, yeah, sometimes, guys, like, your passion, some of you guys might have like a huge passion of like, hey, like, I want to, save world hunger or something. That's amazing. But this opportunity for me has really been about like daily passions, right? And it's like, maybe, yeah, you want to move to a new city because I'm getting soft for my old age and I'm avoiding snow. But really, it's like about taking my niece to Gymboree at like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, or going to drive sand dune buggies with my sister in the desert on like a Thursday, or whatever, right? So this is really, for me, it's been about choice, and it's been about showing other people, generally my age, but not necessarily only my age, because my team ranges anywhere from 24 to like 74, honestly. Just showing that they can have choice. And it's really like, I'm not special, my sister's not special, Lauren's not special. I mean, she's special a little bit, but she's no more special than anybody else. It's really just about kind of finding why you want to do this, and then just deciding I'm going to do it no matter what the heck happens. And because I know that I want to have those choices, whatever the heck that means to you. So yeah, that's been my 2.5 years to this point.
That's awesome. And you did drop the quote. So that's true. And that was really powerful when you said that at the opportunity meeting, because I think a lot of people look at network marketing and they see some of the successes and they think they have to have this rag to riches story, or they think that maybe they have to have like been up against a rock and a hard spot or something in order to do this. And the fact that you just had a bigger dreamer and wanted more out of life, and even though you weren't necessarily suffering, you weren't as fulfilled or as ambitious or whatever. And I think that's great. So you chatted a little bit about how you've traveled like so much, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's been fun to see that journey. And I remember when you were here, the whole reason we decided to do that event together is because I was a stop on this road trip, for you kind of on this journey from Illinois out to California. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about not only what that felt like to be able to live that, you know, and think like you never clocked in, you never clocked out, like you didn't have to be somewhere at a certain amount of time, like you don't have a boss, DJ's not your boss, Alexis is not your boss, you know, what that was like to just be free, get paid every week, if not daily, if you were doing things, but then also like how you stayed plugged in. Like, what is it that you do consistently, you know, that even when you're on the road or even when you're, you know, like living this freedom life, that your business is growing and not coasting down?
Hell yeah. So yeah, first of all, how did it feel, guys? I mean, like, I'm going to sound like a jerk for a second, but it felt awesome. Like, it felt really cool to be able to go on a road trip. And again, not have to worry about where I'm going to, you know, when I have to land somewhere or what I have to be doing on a specific day. Because again, like this, I got into this not because I was like, hey, I want to take a road trip, or hey, I want to move to California and, you know, avoid the snow for the rest of my life or whatever. Like, those things weren't on my radar when I started, right? Like, what was on my radar was like, hey, I want to get off of Long Island. Like, I didn't even care where I went, right? I could have been Antarctica for all I cared. I just wanted to get the heck off, you know, but your goals kind of change as you go along. And something I really have learned this year is one of those, like, if I wrote down all my resolutions in the beginning of 2016, right, like January 1st, I was like, I'm going to do this and that and the other thing. You know, goals are important and we need them to guide us. But at the end of the day, guys, life happens, you know, and things that you can't necessarily plan for, they do happen. And what you want to do and what this opportunity has afforded me to do is to kind of take it as it came. You know, I was engaged at the beginning of the year, planning a wedding for the summer, and things did not end up that way. And 2 days after everything happened, I was going through this thing in my head, and I was like, I moved back in with my mom, and I feel like, hey, I'm successful. I'm 31 years old, like, and I'm living with my mom. Like, what is this situation I'm in right now? Like, I can't be in my mom's guest bedroom. She's a lovely person, but she's, you know, in a 55 and over community, and it was very dead energy there. And I thought, you know, I would survive the breakup. I might not survive living in my mom's guest bedroom. And I had the freedom to book a flight to Australia 2 days later, 2 days after like a really hard breakup, and go back to a place I had been there when I was 20. And just travel for a month and get back to the things that really excited me about life. Wake up every day and do things that really lit me up in the morning, right? And some days, yeah, that was, you know, jumping out of airplanes or, you know, going whitewater rafting or doing really cool stuff. And other days, it really was sitting at a Starbucks because I just wanted to like relax and hang out. And it was never about, you know, like like that wasn't in my plans in the beginning of the year, but it was one of those things where it was like, hey, I have the freedom to do this. And so, you know, you look at all the successful people in this company and you're like, oh my God, like what a life they must have. And yeah, it's amazing. But what's really cool, guys, is like bad things or unexpected things can happen to anybody. But when you have freedom and you have choice and you have, you know, a residual income, which is, guys, I mean, residual income, I'm sure most of you have kind of figured this out at this point. If you haven't, you will. It's the most amazing thing in the world because, again, you get to, you know, if your car breaks down, you're like, oh my God, I have to be at work tomorrow. You don't have to if you have enough residual income coming in. And guys, that freedom and that like stress or like lack of stress in your life allows you to focus your energy on so many other things, so that when other things do happen, you can kind of deal with them, cope with them, whatever it is, in whatever way it is that lights you up. You know, I mean, if somebody had said, like, what are you going to do when you go through a breakup? My first answer would not be travel to Australia. But when you get really, really grounded in what excites you, right? Your head, like this can talk you into or out of anything, right? You can justify anything, but like your gut, like your intuition, your heart, whatever it is, like that tells you what you really want. For whatever reason, like that day, I was like, I'm going to go to Australia right now, right? And so that freedom, guys, you can't it's not about the money, right? Like whether I'm making the amount of money I'm making now or I'm making, you know, multiple seven figures at some point, like it was really just the freedom and the choice to have to just cope with whatever I was going through in the way that felt appropriate to me. And then again, that road trip that I just took, I got to see national parks and I got to connect with Lauren and see friends from different cities. And guys, like, this is not to be like woo woo, like give you guys like a rah rah speech about like how amazing freedom is, but like you guys have to know this. Like, this is something that everybody should have, you know, and not everybody wants it. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that if somebody's happy and lit up and excited about what they're doing, if you love teaching, I don't want to take you out of the school system. I want you to be a teacher forever because we need good teachers in the world, right? But guess what? If you're a teacher that's, you know, you love what you do, but you got into it because you wanted summers off, and suddenly you can't have summers off because maybe teaching doesn't pay you enough and, you know, you're lifeguarding or I don't know what you guys do in the mountains out there. But I grew up on the Jersey Shore, so most teachers I know lifeguard in the summer. They waited tables or bartended or whatever. And that stress of money or that stress of like never having time off is going to affect the way you're living the rest of your life. And then you're kind of not getting the benefit that you really set out to get. And so that's what I feel like this opportunity is all about, and residual income is all about, is just giving yourself a little bit of a choice where you might not have had one before. And as far as how I stayed plugged into everything, guys, I say this all the time, and I don't know if we're going to talk about social media tonight, but the easiest thing you can do, guys, life gets in the way and things happen, right? The easiest thing you can do is keep your social media up to date. There's no reason to ever not be posting on Facebook. I don't mean like spamming, hey, join my team, buy my product, cleanse all day long. But you can always send 5 messages a day as soon as you wake up. I don't care if you're going to be in the car for 12 hours on a road trip, right? As soon as you wake up in the morning, if you have a 12-hour workday, whatever the case may be for you, you can send 5 messages in 5 minutes, right? You can send 5 voice texts in 3 minutes, right? It doesn't take that long just to connect with 5 people first thing in the morning, right? And then if nothing else happens in your business the rest of the day, like you put your post out, at least you connected with 5 people, right? I mean, the goal is always to do more, and I'm sure you guys have ideas in your head of what's going to work for you, whether it's 5 or 10 or 20 people a day. But the first thing I did when I woke up, the first thing I still do when I wake up, it's just reach out to people and just reconnect with old friends or connect with maybe like a brand new friend or whatever it is. And just make sure I get those 5 connections first thing in the morning. I never miss a training call, ever. Success leaves clues, guys. And no one on my team, and I'm sure it's probably similar on your team too, has ever had success by skipping training calls. To me, the beauty of network marketing, and I'm not Zach Slow, I'm not Jason Liu. I'm not a guy that's been in multiple different companies where I'm gonna compare every single one. You guys should definitely listen to a podcast by those guys if you want like the nitty gritty. But guys, the beauty of network marketing is like we don't have to be that smart or that talented. All we have to do is plug into systems that work. There's no real overhead to this business. I don't have to worry about advertising or anything like that. All I have to do is get on a training call, like read our website, and listen to people that have done it before. If my sister told me, like, Todd, like go lay in traffic right now because that's going to grow your business, I would do it. Because I know she knows what the heck she's talking about, right? So if Lauren tells me, and again, Lauren's not even like financially linked to me. If she's like, hey, this is what I do, you damn sure I'm going to do it probably, as long as it's legal. And maybe if it's not, who knows? But you just listen to people that have done it before. And because at the end of the day, guys, like we have a lot of people in our life that I think, they want to have our best interest at heart, a loved one, a family member, a friend, a husband, a wife. And they may say, hey, don't get on the training call tonight. Watch The Bachelor with me or whatever, right? And, you already know the Facebook system, or you already know how to connect, or you don't need to hear this person talk because you already know it. And like they might really, truly have your best interest at heart, but guys, they've never done what you're trying to do. And when you follow people that have done what you're trying to do, that's when you have success, right? We always say duplication is everything in this business, and good duplicates, and so does bad. And so you want to duplicate the people that are doing it well. And so someone like Lauren, on this call, you want to just do whatever the heck she tells you to do because she's got your best interest at heart, right? This is a team game. If anyone here succeeds, she succeeds, and vice versa. So that's how I stayed plugged in, was just, again, getting on training calls. I didn't miss any events while I was driving. And then, you connect with people every day. It's a people business. You go out, you meet people. It's not hard. If I had to eat dinner every night, right? I had to go somewhere and eat. I would sit down at a restaurant or a bar and just make the people next to me talk to me. Sometimes they wanted to, sometimes they didn't. But you always put that effort in. However, it works for you. Not everybody has to make a stranger at a bar talk to them. But that's how I was going to connect to new people on my trip. So that's how I did it.
So good. I don't know if you can see the chat as I'm like typing as you're talking or anything, but you're dropping some genius. It's good. And I love that whole success clues too. You actually, when you said that you would have laid in front of a car, CG, like I told you to do that. I used to tell Janny, because she could get me out of bed at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I remember when I was first about to hit Crystal Director, and she's like, do you have your sticky notes up? And I was like, no. She's like, get your sticky notes up in 5 different places. And I was like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, Janny. I got to get up at 5. And she was like, put your sticky notes up. And at that moment, I told her if she had made me to go do a snow angel in the middle of like January in Colorado, I would have done it. I was like, fine, whatever. Like it obviously works. So I love that. And it's funny that you say that because I was just talking to a builder today who's feeling a little disconnected. And I said, are you listening to podcasts? Are you getting on calls? Are you doing your gratitude? Like some of that stuff that we talk about, it has to be consistent every single day and you master the mundane. And she's like, no, I'm not, I said, you have to. And I mean, I'm so glad that you're reinforcing that, because even though I can say it all the time, sometimes when they hear it from someone else, especially if they don't know another team, it's like, okay, we're all kind of saying the same thing, and it's super important. So you're really extroverted, you're, you know, outgoing, like you could walk into a bar by yourself and leave with 20 friends. That part I know about you. But how is it that when you're connecting with people, do you ever introduce isogenics? Like a lot of people are always wondering, when you're connecting and you're on the road trip and you're building that relationship, either while you're sitting there chatting, how would you cast the vision, or what is it that you would say to maybe exchange information that then you can drip on them through Facebook, or somehow be able to introduce that, you know, introduce what we have at some point later down the road?
Yeah, absolutely. So we always say, guys, like, connect without an agenda, right? You always want to connect with people without an agenda. And I think that's the biggest mistake, you know, I see people make, and certainly one that I've made myself, is that you meet somebody new or you're talking to somebody new. And you know, even now I still go through it, where occasionally, like, you're like, how do I fit this in, right? Like, now, you know, and you're really, that's not meeting them without an agenda, right? That's meeting them because you think that they need what you have. And they might not, you know, as much as I love isogenics, like, maybe someone out there doesn't need it or doesn't want it, right? I think we have a solution for everybody, but I don't want to prejudge you based on what I think your solution is, because it might be way different than I think, right? I might look at you and say, like, oh, like, you seem like someone that hates your job, right? Like, let me, you know, lead with the business here, when really, like, you don't hate your job, and it provides you a life that you like, but you're dying to lose 10 pounds. But to me, you look fine, right? Like, I think everybody looks great. So, and that's not just like words. Like, I would never look at someone and say they need to lose weight or they need to gain lean muscle or whatever. So it's one of those things, you don't want to prejudge people based on what you think you know about them, right? All you want to do is just connect truly without an agenda, right? And the more you ask questions, guys, the more that you get to know somebody, you find those pain points. And again, like, I don't go intentionally searching for a pain point. I'm like, all right, how do I make this person sad? Right? You want to make them feel good, actually. But you ask some questions, you know, like, what do you do? How do you like it? You know, you got a lot of vacation time. And it's not about, like, all right, at some point I'm going to say, all right, this is the solution for you, because, you know, finally I found something you don't like. I'm going to say isogenics is the answer, because, I mean, it probably is, honestly, but maybe it's not for them. So I'm going to keep building that relationship, whether over the course of a night or maybe, honestly, at the first time I meet somebody, I might not introduce it at all. I mean, if it doesn't come up, they might ask me what I'm doing. And number one rule, Peter Kelly always said it, don't be weird, right? So if someone says, what do you do? I'm not like, well, like, I'm part of this thing, and, like, if I get a couple people to do a couple things, it's not about that, right? Depending on who I'm talking to, like, whatever feels true for me at that point is what I say, right? So I don't have, like, a line that says, what do you do? You know, if I'm talking to someone, like, what do you do? I'm like, I help people, like, you know, lose weight or gain lean muscle. I work in health and wellness. I'm a cleanse coach. I'm a network marketer. Like, you know, I built a nutritional cleansing business, whatever it is, but, like, it's not weird to me because it's all true, obviously, right? So if you have, like, an anxiety about, like, saying what you do, like, understand that, like, it's just whatever's true for you is gonna, like, it's gonna resonate with that person, right? Because it's true. People resonate with authenticity. So always come from a place where, like, you don't think if you think it's weird what you do, of course they're gonna think it's weird, right? So you have to get past that, and, you know, we always say go to work on that stuff. So, like, go to work on your belief in yourself or your business or the company or the products or whatever. And then again, when it's finally, like, you know, you feel like, okay, like, I do have something for this person, like, you just tell them, guys, it's not that crazy. It's not like, all right, like, how do I tell this person, like, that I have an opportunity for them? You just tell them, you know, if somebody's like, tell me, listen, like, I don't have I don't have enough money to go see my family or friends. I'm like, listen, I don't know what you know, like, what I do, but I work with people and actually teach them how to build an income if it's something that you're interested in, right? And they may say yes or they may say no, but I'm unattached to the outcome, again, because I'm not meeting them with an agenda. Really, I'm not. So, I mean, if they say no, that's cool, right? Because, again, if they said, what should I eat at this restaurant? And I said, eat the chicken. They ordered the steak. Like, do I care? No. So I'll say, like, I don't know if you know what I do, but, you know, and then I'll say, I help people lose weight, or I help people gain lean muscle, or, you know who you remind me of? You remind me of Misty, who she's a Division I softball coach, just like you, and she was totally burnt out. You know, and I met her at a happy hour one day, and, you know, now she's not even coaching anymore because she fell in love with, like, this business that I'm in. And, you know, it's been able to, like, kind of free her from some of the stuff you're talking about. Like, is that, you know, I would love to connect you guys, right? Three-way calls are huge. And I don't know how you guys do it on your team, but if there's people in your life, on your team, whatever, that are going to resonate with, we have so many stories here in Isogenics, right? And I don't care if I'm financially linked to you or not. If somebody's got a similar story to me, I'm happy to talk to them, you know? And so it's just finding those points that people, that they have. You know, I was talking to my leasing agent, and when I moved out of Chicago, I had to, like, go down and, like, sign some stuff to move out. And she was like, I wish I could move to California. And I was like, well, why can't you? And she said, well, I could, but, I want to put in like 2 years at this location before I move because I get a promotion and blah, blah. And we were just talking, and I did at the end, I was like, listen, like, you remind me so much of this girl in my company, because she was talking about how she was very into health and wellness, and she wanted to work for herself one day, and like she had a mom who had like a financial situation that like wasn't great. She wanted to retire her mom someday. I was like, I want to send you a video. I said, like, I don't know if it's like going to speak to you the way it did to me, but I really think it's going to resonate with you. And I sent her a video of Peter Kelly from Celebration 2 years ago, talking about a lot of the same things this girl was talking about. She watched the video, we got on the phone, and it wasn't necessary to say, like, are you ready to join my business now? But we watched it, and she's like, I'm so interested in can we talk like specifically more about what you do? And it's like, heck yeah. There's a lot of tools out there that we can show people. There's a lot of stories we can tell people. It's just about, like, honestly, being real with them, and not trying to skirt around an issue. If somebody asks me what you do, you tell them. If you have a solution for someone, like, don't be shy about it. If somebody tells me at the gym, like, oh my God, like, I really want to lose 10 pounds, I may ask them, like, what are you currently doing? But at the end of the day, like, I know I can help them lose 10 pounds. I'm sorry, but like, it's not that hard with our system. I can't go around guaranteeing stuff because that's not compliant. But if I know that I can help them and I don't, I'm a real jerk, I think, right? So that's why I always, I'm really just direct with people. And it's not about sending messages to people you haven't talked to in 20 years and saying, oh my God, like, I love that picture of your baby. Do you want to cleanse? You have to be a little bit more tactful and build relationships. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. So build that up if it's someone that, like, you just haven't talked to in years. But at the end of the day, just be direct with people, because they're going to see right through fluff anyway.
I love it. So good. You'll have to read this chat later. I'll figure out how to say it to you. But the authenticity is huge. And that's something we talk about. So I'm like, you've gotten that message from someone somehow that it was like, hi, here's my copied and pasted sales pitch that went out to 100 other people, and like how annoying that is. So I'm glad that you're talking about like how you're really connecting, and the feel, felt, found way, which, how you're relating to people you remind me of. Like, that's really clever. So I'm also over here taking notes. Thank you for that. I want to pick your brain actually specifically on like the males side of this. So a lot of the guys on my team are like, dudes don't post on social media like girls do. Like, we can't, you know what I mean? And they'll like create this story, or the way that, like, if I'm in the restroom, I can be like, oh my God, I love your shoes. And, and then we're like instantly friends. And so if you could talk to us just a little bit, not only how you're building yourself on Facebook, because I think guys online are obviously different than women, but then also how you're teaching your team. Like, because so many people, I think, in my business are saying this is the women's business, I can't do what you do. And obviously you're very successful at it.
Yeah, and I think we all have like stories in our head, right? And whether the story is like, oh, like, guys don't want to do this, or the story is like, oh, you have to be young to do this, or the story is like, everyone in my town already does this. Like, they're all stories. Like, you can look on stage. There's lots of guys on there. There's, Carol Taylor's 80 something years old, and we have Audrey Moss, who's like 25. Like, any age can do this. We talk about like, everyone in my town, is already doing this. I don't have anyone to reach out to anymore. The fact is, like, there's 317 million people in the country alone. That's just the US, and there's 500,000 on Isagenix. So there's still 316.5 million people out there that don't have an account, right? So like, you don't have to just build in your hometown. They're all stories that we have, guys, but like, it's easy to fall into them. It's easy to fall trapped to them, because you look around, you see other people having success, and like, maybe you're not having it, and you want to find a reason why, right? And it's easier, whenever good things happen to us, we love to take credit for it, right? We like to say, oh my God, I have a good job. I worked so hard in college, and I interned, and I busted my butt, but when things aren't going as well, like, our natural reaction generally is to point the finger, oh, like, I'm a guy, like, other guys don't want to do this, or, I'm too old, or I'm too young, or whatever. So the message here is just, as a guy, like, I wasn't even on Facebook when I started. Like, I was on Facebook like in college, and then I quit because I was like, I don't really like it. It's, I don't know. I don't want to put my life out there, whatever the heck that means. And it just wasn't my thing. And when I started Isagenix, my sister was like, if you're going to do this, I'm going to coach you. You have to get on. And my biggest fear in life was being called uncoachable, because I would hear her tell me like, oh, I have this girl on my team. She's being totally uncoachable right now. And I'd be like, ooh, like, that just sounded harsh to me. So when I started, I was like, I don't want to be uncoachable. And so I was like, all right, like, I guess I'll get on Facebook. And I started, I had like 200 friends. My first post ever I put up was, I was going to a concert with my friend Katie. And I was like, all right, like, so excited about this concert tonight. And 2 people liked it. And it was my sister and my friend Katie. And nobody else cared. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm such a loser. Nobody cares. Like, probably a little bit of that story. Like, guys aren't really going to like engage with this kind of stuff or whatever. I remember telling my sister, like, I'm not like a woo-woo kind of guy. Like, to be like, great results, or, oh my God, she looks amazing, or whatever. Like, that's not really me, right? And she was like, just, you'll find your voice. You'll find your voice. You'll find it. And it was weird in the beginning. It was uncomfortable. And again, it's repetition, and it's really believing in what you're doing. You know, like when I type in, like when I respond to somebody's like before and after picture, I'm like, she looks awesome. It's like, she really does look awesome. And it's more than just a picture. I feel like we can fall into a habit of, you know, we have our news feeds. I'm sure all of us are the same. We have a lot of before and after pictures on there, right? And like we can scroll down and we're looking for, you know, other stuff people to engage with and things like that are on our prospect list. But it's important to remember, like, there's a real story behind those pictures, not just nice pictures, right? Like some girl or some guy on there went through a real struggle, or they went through like a real phase of commitment, or whatever the heck it is. And they're so proud to have that picture, you know, being displayed. And then they feel so good right now. And you should be excited about them. And this is a passion business. Like, it really is. You can do everything right, but if you don't have passion, it's going to be really hard for you to get traction. So you need to like really go to work on like getting excited for those people. You know, if you read my before and after pictures that I put up, people on my own team, you know, they don't sound like everybody else. It's like they're in my own voice. But it took a long time for me to find that voice, you know. And I think it's important to remember, like, we're all following maybe a similar system, right? Like the system, you know, Isagenix teaches on stage, 10-4-1, all that kind of stuff. We're all following it pretty similarly, but we're all so different, right? Like Alexis on my team, Alexis Romano, like, she'll post healthy recipes. And, you know, I don't do that because I only know how to cook chicken and eggs, and not even good chicken and eggs, honestly. So like, I'm not going to go to Pinterest and like pin a recipe and put it on my page, because that's not authentic to me, right? My sister's going to post about like her spray tan and her hair and things like that. And like, they're not important to me. I pretend they are, like, when she posts them, because I want to be a good brother and I know they're important to her, but really, like, I'm not going to post about that stuff, right? So you guys, you want to remember who you were before you started Isagenix and the kinds of things that you enjoyed seeing on your newsfeed, and don't try to force yourself into being someone, you know, who thinks they need to be a fitness expert or a dietitian, you know, unless you really are those things, because it's not going to be authentic. It's not going to resonate with your audience. You know, your friends are your friends for a reason. And it's going to be jarring for them if you just start spamming your network with buy my product, join my team kind of stuff. You want your personality, like your actual personality, to shine through, and just be passionate and positive and excited, and brand yourself as like the go-to person in your network when people are ready to look for what you have, right? And, you know, people love a window into your life, and they love specifics. And, you know, if you find a quote picture that you like, you know, and it says like, live outside your comfort zone or something like that, you know, first of all, you should be living outside of your comfort zone if you're posting that, first and foremost, right? Or otherwise you're missing the point. But number two, don't just put that up and say like boom or hashtag this or kill it this Monday, right? Like, there's no authenticity in that. There's no story. There's not a personality to it. You know, put a little piece of yourself in there. Tell people why you're posting. You don't need your whole life story in every post, but if you're going to put up a quote, give people a reason for it. And, you know, just to be clear, I'm not, you know, I don't know what, you know, what system you guys are working with or not working with, but like with our system, like, I think people get in the habit of, it's like motivational quote, motivational quote, motivational quote. And like, some days, guys, like, if you're not feeling motivational, you don't have to put one up there. You can put something else up there. I think in the last month, I put like 2 motivational quotes up, and not because I'm not feeling motivational or anything, but there's other things on my mind or in my life that, that get me excited right now, or, you know, and I think people may start to tune you out if you start to sound like a social media fortune cookie, right? So, guys, you have to have fun. Like, if you're not having fun on Facebook, you're not doing it right. You know, engagement and excitement and finding your voice all take time, but you're never going to get to that if you're not consistent. You're not committed to getting, you know, those other posts out there. You know, we have the, you know, the regular posts, before and after pictures, all that kind of stuff, but it's all a little awkward in the beginning if you're not someone that ever posted before, you know, but you can't come up with a story and say like, well, it's not going to work for me because X, Y, and Z reasons. There's so many guys out there. There's so many younger people, older people, whatever, that are doing this, you know, so it's not about that. It's that's just you finding a reason, you know, to give yourself an out, like why it might not be working for you. What you want to do is get excited, find like what does excite you? Like what do you want to see in your newsfeed? Like, you scroll through, like there must be something you enjoy reading, right? That's probably like a pretty big clue of like who you are and what excites you. So like I said, I wasn't on Facebook. Now I think I'm super excited to post every day. It's my favorite part, honestly. Like, enrolling people, it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But like, oh, I get to post like a selfie today or something. That it really does excite me. Like, I think it's cool. And people, like we said before, people are going to buy stuff from you if they know, like, and trust you. And it's silly, but people feel like they know you if you're giving them like a really big glimpse into your life. And again, it doesn't have to be a life story every single time. But if you're casual and you're easygoing or whatever, like, post that stuff out there, you know, and surround yourself with people that are going to support you. I mean, you guys, I'm sure, have an amazing team support system and have fun with each other. and don't get caught up in like, what are the people going to think in my life? You know, oh my God, they're going to make fun of me. So what? Like, you don't, they make fun of you. They're not, those are not the people like that you're worried about helping right now anyway, right? Like you want to help the people that are receptive to your help. So like if they make fun of you, who cares? Like people make fun of me all the time. You know, we could do a whole call just about handling negativity. But I don't care. Like I really have a pretty amazing life. And if they want to make fun of me, I'm okay with that. And they do, believe me, everybody goes through it. And I think, you know, people always say like, oh, when I get to this certain level, if I'm on stage or whatever, I'm sure Lauren can relate to this. She's got 1 million freaking stars right now. She's got every accolade in the book. And I'm sure there's people in her life that are like, what is she doing? That's weird or whatever. But she doesn't let that stop her, right? She's just excited to share with the people that want to be helped. And look at how happy and attractive and amazing you guys all are, right? And so if she had stopped because like someone, you know, gave her a complex about what she was posting on social media, like where would you guys all be? Where would your teams be, right? Where'd all the people that you've helped be? So get out of your own heads about like, what are people going to think? And just let me, you know, let yourself shine through and don't worry about like who you are, projecting, just worry about who you are. Does that make sense?
It's so good. It's so good. Tracy O'Malley, I heard her once say that sometimes the right people or the wrong people have to leave so the right people can show up, you know, and it's true. If they're judging you, then they're not who you want to be helping. And it's hard, you know, it's hard. And you're really doing a good job being vulnerable, putting yourself out there and what it was like when you had 2 likes to kind of what you're doing now. But it was trusting the business and learning the skill set and being consistent and not quitting and all of those things that really yield to success as well. And I'm glad that people are hearing it because so often we're like, what are people going to think of me? And one of the lines that I'm always saying to them is, I need you to worry more about what you're not doing for someone than what they're worried, like you being worried about what like you think of them or they think of you. You know, I screwed that up totally, but I'm always saying worry more about what you can do for someone than what you're worrying about them thinking about you, you know, all the time. And I mean, I go through this with my leaders daily, if not weekly, about you've not put a testimonial picture up. You're not talking about the income. You're not sharing the lifestyle. And, you know, like people are like, I don't want to brag or I don't want to be arrogant or, you know, I've done this too many times or, you know, and really trying to get out of that space and make sure that, you know, we're sharing these stories because there's so many people out there that really are looking for us. So I love what you're saying. I love how you're saying, even if you're with a system, to make it your own, make it fun, make it authentic. And that's really, really great. So one of the last things I want to ask you is, you know, when you've built a 6-figure business, you know, a multiple 6-figure business in a couple years, and sometimes it's slower for people, sometimes it's faster for some people, but that you're consistent. Like you said, you're not missing training calls or, you know, you're constantly connecting with people, you're, you know, doing the social media, you're using the systems. But what are some of the things, like if you could give like 3 tips of advice or 3 steps that when you get someone excited about the business, not just using the products, but actually about the business, what is it that you do to launch a new business builder? Or what were maybe a few of the things that you learned early on that really launched your business to such success in actually a short period of time?
Yeah, hell yeah. So the number one thing I think that allowed me to have any success at all in this business was posture, right? And I always, when I start somebody brand new in this business, like my number one goal is not so they can learn every product detail or every detail of the comp plan. It's building their posture and what they're doing, because, you know, I forget who it was on stage said, like, a lot of people are like 1 no away from quitting, right? And like, we don't want people to quit, not because like we're so invested in like them, like maybe increasing our income, but like we know if they stick it out, we know this works, right? Like, again, I'm sure you guys have amazing numbers on your team. I'm just not familiar with them, but I know on our team, everyone that's done this for 5 years became a millionaire, you know, and that's not a guarantee. And we can't, again, be compliant, or, you know, we'd be incompliant if like we advertise this like publicly, like, do this for 5 years, you'll be a millionaire. But like, we know this works, right? We know that we have systems and products and a company and leadership that works. So I want to make sure that people don't quit before they figure that out, right? And Hayden Vavra said in an event once, he's amazing, and he said, you know, most people, what do you say? Most people overestimate where they'll be in 1 year and they underestimate where they'll be in 5. And that's the biggest thing, because again, people come in and maybe like they're bad out of hell. I'm gonna make a 6-figure income in 1 year. And some people do that, and it's amazing. But again, it's not about like the number growth as much as like falling in love with the process there. And like that's where the posture comes from. You know, the best thing I ever heard in the beginning was hope, wish, and try are not strategies, right? So if you have someone that's like, oh, I hope I'm going to enroll someone, you know, first week, or I'm going to try to become a consultant, or maybe this is going to work. Hope, wish, and try are not strategies. Nobody's going to join your science experiment, right? So you need to be really super grounded in what you're doing. You don't have to know how you're going to get there. Just know that you're going to get there, right? You trust the system. You trust your leader. You trust Lauren. You trust, Jana. You trust everybody that's telling you this is how you do it. You have to know without a shadow of a doubt what the heck it is you're doing, and where you're going. Because that people want to follow people that know where they're going, right? So again, like I had a friend, my friend Kim, she had a good product experience, and I talked to her about the business, and she was like, "You just want me to, do this business so that you can earn money off me," whatever the heck she said. And I was like, "No, I'm going to earn money with or without you." I was kind of sound like a jerk, but I'm going to. I said, "I want you to do this because I want to be able to get guacamole with you on a Tuesday afternoon next year." I said, "So like, please, like think about it, like for your own perspective, like think about all the people that like we could be eating guacamole because we used to eat guacamole together." And it was one of those things where like she still has not joined me in my business, but like it wasn't offensive to me when you said whatever that she said, because I knew where I was going, right? And again, the top earner in my organization, she just surpassed 6 figures on her own, and we met at a happy hour. It was the first time we ever met, and she, I was 3 weeks into my business, and she said to me, what do you do at the university? Because I worked at a college, and I told her what I did, and she's like, "That's such a weird job," because it was a weird job. And she said, like, "Where do you go from there? Like, what's the next step?" Like, guys, I was 3 weeks into my business. And I said, "Well, I started this other thing on the side. It's like a cleansing program that, it's this business is going to, I think, allow me to retire at least within the year, maybe 2. And she was like, "Wait, what?" And it wasn't because I knew what an adaptogen was. It wasn't because like I had posted like all these amazing before and after. It was just because I trusted the systems. I trusted the people that had gone before me, and I trusted that what the success people were telling me. And so I just knew where I was going, and she was hooked, right? And again, if I could bottle that up and replicate it over and over again, I would. I would love to have more Missies on my team for sure. But again, like we don't get to that conversation. She doesn't join my organization. She doesn't earn a 6-figure income if I don't sound really freaking sure about where I'm going. So guys, number one is your posture. You have to work on your posture. And the best way to do that is plug in the training goals, get to events, all the things that I'm sure you get preached to as much as I did in the beginning. Number 2 is have fun, and I said it before, but like if you're not having fun, you're just not doing it right. And I get that like things don't go your way sometimes, and the highs and lows might like get you high and low, obviously. But as how low can you really be, right? Like we're selling shakes, and if somebody wants them or they don't, like how low could you get if they don't, right? And I just talked about posture, but if you know for a fact, if you know the ending, I'm going to be maxed out at some point. I'm going to hit 2-star at some point, whatever it is. If you know the ending, you can't get mad at the process. You have to fall in love with the process, right? And it's not just the good parts of the process. There's some bad parts too, right? I mean, it took my sister 5 years to become a millionaire, 4 years, whatever the heck it was. Like those 4 years happened. Like it wasn't like she took a nap and 5 years later she woke up and became a millionaire, right? Like she had to go through the highs and the lows. Like she had the breakdowns and then the points where she felt like it wasn't working. I'm the same way. I had a really amazing first year, and then I had some, challenges in my second year, and there's highs and lows every single day, so, as much as I want to sit here and tell you, like, I've never been down in my whole life. Like, sure I have, and like, people say things, or people like don't want to do this, or like, oh, my cycles haven't grown in a month, or whatever the heck the case might be. But how low can you get when, like, again, we have people, everyone's adding their income up now because it's January 3rd, right? And everyone's like, how much did I earn last year? And like people that were frustrated, like, oh my God, I'm still a 1-star this year. Or, oh my God, like I didn't grow as fast as I wanted to. They're posting on our business group, I earned $21,000 this year. I earned $34,000 this year. I earned $11,000. And it's like, how could you ever be mad about that? Who gets that kind of extra income, So number 2 is just have fun and like fall in love with the process. And 3, whatever the heck letter number I'm on, I don't know. It's become a leader now. Don't wait until you have a team to become a leader. Real leadership starts before you have a team to follow you. Go to New Year's kickoff alone. Don't say, well, I have no one coming with me. It's stupid, right? Because that's going to duplicate, right? And you want to create a team of leaders, and you can't stand in any sort of integrity if you weren't the one that went first, right? Somebody has to go first in your network, and Lauren went first in hers, right? And I went first in mine, and a lot of you, I'm sure, went first in yours. But you don't have success and then become a leader, right? You become a leader first. You do things day in and day out. Lauren said before, master the mundane. Guys, we see Lauren on stage, or Janet Elo on stage, or Tara Romano, Alexis Romano, my sister on stage, like carrying the big checks or dancing around or whatever. That's amazing, guys. But they get to do that because of everything they did in between the events, right? Like Celebration is amazing, your kickoff's amazing, but like they get to go on stage because like what they're doing in between the events, like they're leading like from the front, whether they had people to follow them or not, you know, and that I think is one of those misconceptions that people will think that I don't really need to get on the training calls because I don't have a team. So what's like, they don't know if I'm on or not. Like, your network knows how serious you are. They always know how serious you are. And then a lot of people, like, they're waiting. Like, they're waiting to see whether this is something that's like bad for you, or they're waiting to see if this is something like you're really serious about. And if you're half in, half out, and you're not showing up as a leader, like, your response from your prospects is going to be a half in, half out response. You know, your uncertainty or your whatever ambivalence, like, that's going to show up in your business. And, you know, that's obviously like not how you're going to get into momentum. So those, I think, would be like the three sort of things that I talk to business people about, you know: leadership, having fun, and just posture from the very beginning.
So good. So good. I love that. And you have really, in case I don't say it later, complimented me a ton along this way, which was not the purpose of the call, but I really do appreciate it. So thank you for all the nice things you've said. But it's actually funny to reflect. I am just over 3 years in Isogenics, and thinking about exactly some of the things you just said, that maybe you don't even realize you're doing it. You just want something so bad that you're willing to do the scary things and, you know, do things that get you out of your comfort zone. But I went to my first event by myself. You know, I opened up a Facebook group when it was me. Like, just things that, like, that you're saying. And it's just really interesting. But it was that posture and it was that vision that I was like, I'll build an empire. I will be a millionaire in this company. And I don't know how yet. I don't know where the people are going to come from. But I believed it. And you just start the process, you know? So I would love all these things that you're saying. And most of all, just like having fun with it. I might steal that idea of having people post their incomes. It's true, like these highs and the lows. And Eric Worre talks about that too, that in the beginning, you might put in a lot of time and be really underpaid if you have that employee mindset of exchanging time for money. But then there's a shift, and then you're incredibly overpaid for like not time you're not putting in, but it's, you know, being consistent and going through that entire journey and weathering those emotions. So I'm so glad you touched on all of that. One final thing, talk to us about events, you know, like what they've done for you, what they've done for your team, why you go, why, like, when you have every reason not to go, you still go, you know, like, let's hear it from your perspective.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So
wait, real quick. And then also to how to show up at events, like the difference between going and like being present and all of that.
Cool. Yeah. So my first event was Celebration, 2014. And again, I signed up for this business or decided to do this business in April of that year. And, you know, I was moving, and, you know, I knew where I was going and what I was doing. And I was, you know, I thought I was doing okay in the beginning. I had some enrollments and, you know, some people that, you know, were building with me, and some of them lasted and some of them didn't. But I was like, I got it. I had like Siege, like, you're a millionaire. My other sister, Jamie, had become like a multiple six-figure earner. And like my friend, Katie, that I talked about before, you know, she was, she might've been a 1-star, but she was making money. I mean, I remember she was at my apartment one day, and she was like, she had like an enrollment. I was like, did you make any money? And she said, yeah, I think I made like $200 or whatever, because it was like a president's package. She was like, whatever the heck. I was like, you just made $200? So like, I knew. I was like, so Siege, I was like, why do I have to go to this event? Like, I get it. Like, you know, cleansing and shakes and money. Like I get it, you know? And she was like, trust me, like, you can't get it until you're there. I was like, all right. Like, again, I didn't want to be uncoachable. So like, I went, you know, by myself. You know, I told some of like my teammates at that point, like, oh, there's an event. And they're like, I'm not, you know, I'm not going to go. Like, it's silly for me to go. I'm like, yeah, no, it's probably silly for you to go, which probably not the right answer, but I didn't know. Like, I didn't know the value of the events until I got there. And guys, I'm telling you, like, that event changed everything for me, you know? And it's one of those things where I think a lot of times in business and in life, like, people wait for like these aha moments, right? And everybody wants to know, like, what was your aha moment? And, you know, a lot of times, like, they don't come. And I don't mean that like in a bad way, like, oh, like, you're never going to have an aha moment. You're going to, you know, be where you are forever. But, well, a lot of times it's a process, right? A lot of times, like, it's not one major breakthrough or a breakdown that leads to a breakthrough. It's just like, you know, you were consistent for long enough to get good, right? But this was one of those things where, like, it was a true aha moment. Like, I walked in, and again, like, everyone's dancing on the chairs and the lights are flashing. And I was like, what did I just walk into, right? I sat in the back, me, my one sister, and my friend Katie, and, you know, we all do this at the first event, right? By the last day, like, I was dancing on my chair a little bit, but I saw Peter Kelly speak about the why, and I think hopefully everybody, whether, you know, you're brand new or you've been doing this for years, hopefully you've been on YouTube and you've seen that, because I honestly probably watch that once a week, and that's not just me like saying that because I think like it sounds nice. Like, I truly watch the video all the time. I have it on the background. Sometimes I really engage with it, but it's one of those things that always just brings me back to like when I was most excited about this business. And so again, I was sitting there, and it just kind of, I was like, this is not about shakes anymore. You know, this is so much bigger than that. Like, you hear the stories, right? And again, like, there's a ton of product stories, a ton of weight loss stories, a ton of people that just felt better than they ever did. You know, they're not even really building businesses. They're just like in the 100-pound club and they got invited to go. And you hear like what they're doing. And it's, again, like I can't take credit for anyone on my team's success, right? And also I can't take credit or blame for any of their failures. But, you know, when I met a woman on my team who was in the 100-pound club, you know, she came up to me. She said, "I don't think you know who I am, but you know, I'm part of your organization, and you know, I can get down on the ground and play with my kids now." I'm like, holy crap! Like, I don't know you from a hole in the ground. Like, you're 3 levels below me or something like that. You know, and because like I said yes, like that's a big reason where you are. Like I said, I didn't do the work. Like, I don't even know her. I didn't even coach her. Someone else on my team did. But like, because I said yes, like your life is like fundamentally different, right? And that's what you get from these events. But you don't get that. You don't start to see that in the beginning until you go, right? And then you see these business stories of people that, you know, that they're going to resonate with you. Like, they're real freaking people. Like, it's one thing to like see all your faces on the Zoom call, right? And maybe some of you guys have met in real life and some of you haven't, but like, it's way different when you're part of a culture. You can't build this business in a silo, guys. This business lives in conversation. Like, it does. Like, you can't just sit behind a computer screen and think you're going to become a millionaire. I mean, that's certainly part of it. You want to master, you know, the Facebook system and enrolling and being able to connect with people online. But as this business absolutely lives in conversations, and it requires you to be part of something bigger, because people want to be part of something, you know. And when you get to these events and you bond with your teammates and you start to plan, you know, the next year of your life and plan vision board parties or you know, just shoot the breeze about what's working for them, what's working, you know, for you. And guys, the best part about these events is being able to swap the ideas, right? And then you start to build that culture. You start to see the same people at the events over and over again. And it becomes something you really look forward to. And again, if you're getting excited about these things, guess what? That's showing up everywhere. It's showing up in your conversations, showing up in your friendships, showing up in your relationships, right? And people, they sense the excitement. But it never happens when you just try and watch the YouTube videos online, or it doesn't happen like, you know, if Lauren just tries to like relay what she learned at this event, because Lauren, like, she gets it, she knows, right? She knows the ins and outs. She knows how to teach you Facebook. She knows how to, you know, teach you how to enroll people, how to present the information. Like, she can tell you that all day long, but until you're in the room with a bunch of freaking people that are so lit up, you can't even stand it. Like, your light goes on for the first time. Like, it really does. And again, you can't look in the event and say like, all right, I went to Celebration, like, now what, right? Like, my life didn't change yet. You have to do work between the events. But you know, I've never seen someone be successful in this business by skipping an event. You know, Alexis Romano never skipped an event in 7 years, right? My sister never in 5 years. You know, it took her, you know, 7 or 8 corporate events to even hit 1 star, right? But she did it. It took me 19 events to hit 2-star corporate events. And some like mini trains that we had in our team. But like, it doesn't just happen after one event. You don't just get it after one event. Like, your light goes on, and that's amazing, right? But like, each event builds to the next one, and you're never going to be able to fully understand what this is about until you sit in that room with everybody and you understand that like, this isn't just about you anymore. You know, there's 5,000 people or 10,000 or whatever the event is that you're at, that they're dying for like what Isagenix can offer, right? And you're like, how many more people are dying for this? How many people want to be part of a culture? How many people want to be part of a success story? It's freaking everyone in your life is dying for. They may not know that they're dying for it, like in the capacity that you can offer to them, but that's what they want. That's what people want. But you don't see it until you get there. And as far as like how to receive the information, just be super present. Don't like, you know, we all need bathroom breaks. We all need to like go to the store and buy bars and stuff like that. Don't ever leave like during like a speaker, right? Don't say, oh my God, like I'll just skip Susan's slide tonight because I've heard her talk before and I want to go to happy hour or whatever. Like, you're there, it's a business meeting. It's a really fun one and it's a really amazing one, but like, you're there to learn. You know, in the beginning, I took notes on everything. Like, I had my notebook out and I was always writing. Now what I do is I write like the little bits and pieces. Like, I'm not taking pages and pages of notes on every speaker anymore, because I think the more you write, the less you engage. But if there's something that really resonates with me, a quote or an idea or something like that, like, I'll write it down. But the most important thing, everybody learns differently. I learn by actively engaging and then internalizing and then like putting like a little bullet point down or something. But just show up and show up as a leader. Don't sit in the back with your arms crossed. You know, if you want to be a 7-star one day, like, act like a 7-star, right? And 7-stars, none of them on my team, like, they're not getting hammered like the night of whatever, right? Like, they're you know, going to dinner, they're hanging out with their team, they're having some drinks, whatever it is. but they're waking up and they're going to the event on time the next day. They're sitting in the front. They're taking their seat and their place there seriously. You know, if you want to be a 7-star, you have to have 7-star habits, right? If you want to be a 3-star, you have 3-star habits. You know, surround yourself with people that are serious. If you're staying in a room with people that aren't serious, because maybe you're there to learn, but they're there to party. Like, and guys, there's a lot of people that are there to party. You know, don't hitch your wagon to them. You know, find other people. You know, try to find people that like are at the level you want to be at too. You know, if you're a brand new consultant, like, yeah, it's easy to surround yourself with other consultants and see where they are, and you want to connect with people on your level or whatever. But like, maybe, you know, find a 2-star or 3-star to sit with, right? And see how they're doing it, you know, and have conversations with them. Because I guarantee it's a way different conversation you're having with people that are, you know, at the same level or same level of newness or whatever as you are. So just act like the level you want to be is probably my best advice for the events.
So good. So good. Any final thoughts? Anything that you're like, maybe you shouldn't ask me, if there's like one thing on your heart that you want to share before we close? Anything you want to say?
Anything I want to say, guys, again, I said it before, just fall in love with the process, have fun. This is not supposed to stress you out. All right? You can't build this business from like frustration or anxiety. Nobody wants to join that, right? So if you're looking like, oh my God, like I've been a year and I don't have any consultants or whatever, like, did you have fun this year? And if the answer is no, that's probably why you don't have any consultants, right? You know, and just look at this and say, okay, like maybe I'm not making $1 million, but guess what? Like, you are never more relatable. I heard Chris Harder say this in the event, Lauren. He said, you're never more relatable than when you're going through the process, right? So maybe you don't look like a fitness model right now. First of all, you don't have to. Like, I certainly don't, and there's a lot of people on my team that don't. You don't have to look like a fitness model to do this business, but like, it's harder, he said, for his wife, Lori, to like enroll people now. He said, because people look at her and she's like, she's on the cover of magazines and things like that. And they're like, well, yeah, you were like born for this kind of thing. Like, that's not me. You know, when you're going through the process, when you're like on your weight loss journey, when you're on your business journey, that's when people can relate to you, right? It's never like, when I get to this level, then I'll be happy, right? You have to be happy now, or, you know, you have to be grateful for what you have now, or you're never going to attract more. And that sounds very airy-fairy, but at the end of the day, like, everything starts with gratitude. So be grateful for whatever the heck it is you're earning. You know, I remember the first time my friend Katie and I, that I talked about before, and, you know, I swear to God that we're not dating or anything. I keep bringing up Katie, but she was a big part of the beginning of my story. We got sushi all the time, but we were always getting like Groupon sushi, and we were getting like Monday night half off sushi, because that's like when it goes bad, I guess, right? And the first time we ever got like full price sushi was when we hit 1 star. We're like, oh my God, like, we can afford real sushi now, you know? And we were really grateful for that. It wasn't about like, oh my God, like, I'm only at 1 star. I've been doing this for 9 months, or whatever the case was, right? It was like, you have to get really grateful for that, because that's going to show up everywhere. It's going to show up everywhere, right? And people want to join people that, again, are happy and excited. So whatever, if you made $500 last year or $5,000, like that's freaking awesome. Not a lot of people do that. You know, not a lot of people have like that ability or that opportunity presented to them, right? And that's why we always say yes. I got a message from a girl on my team who 2 weeks ago, she was a little frustrated. 2 weeks ago, she was like, Todd, like, I've been doing this now 2 years and I'm not an executive yet. And, you know, I really want to be 2-star by now. And she's gotten close a few times, but she's not there. And then today she texted me and she like gave me her income, and it was like $30-something thousand. She's 24 years old. She's a gratis distance somewhere. And she was like, when you put it into words, right, you sound like a real a-hole if you're like not grateful for $34,000, right? You have to be so grateful for what you have. Don't focus on like how far there is to go. Just put one foot in front of the other. You know, I had an experience in New Zealand when I was going for a hike, and I was trying to get to the top of a mountain. And as soon as I started, I was like, it was really steep, and I was like, I kind of just want to get up there and like take the picture. You know, I don't want to have to go through this hike. But there's no joy in just getting to the top. Your life doesn't start when you get to the top. Like, your life is what happens between now and then, right? Like, your life doesn't start when you hit millionaire, when you hit 3-star. Like, your life is those years in between. It's the highs, the lows, the things you learn, and you have to really, truly get grateful for every single step of the way. You know, thank your coach for bringing you into this, whether she's on this call or not, or whether he's on this call or not. Thank Lauren for hosting this call, you know, and tell your friends, like, yeah, I'm not making a whole lot of money right now, or I didn't grow as fast as I wanted to, but like, oh my God, like, how grateful am I that it gave me this or that, right? And you have to really get super grounded in what can do for you, because at the end of the day, like, it's an amazing culture we have, and it's an amazing company and opportunity we have, and we should all thank, first of all, Lauren for hosting this call, and thank whoever it is plugged us in enough to get us on this call and in this company for being strong enough and being a stand for us to give us the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to get you this recording too, so please feel free to share it. They're eating it up, and before I stop, I'm going to unmute it so they all can say hi and they love you and goodbye to you. So don't hang up quite yet, you guys. I don't know if anybody saw the link that I posted today on my wall, that Simon Sinek little interview about millennials. It was really good. Nothing to do with network marketing, just perspective and some of the things that Todd's talking about gratitude and, being present. But he actually was talking about how with millennials, they just want to reach the summit. And he goes, they want to make an impact on the world. And they're so focused on the summit of what they think that impact is, forgetting they have to climb up the mountain. And he goes, no matter how high or how fast or how slow, we all still have to climb up the mountain. So it's true. And I really appreciate you reinforcing that and sharing that with us. And you're authentic and you're fun. And my team is blowing up. I can see it on my Facebook page and in the messenger and on this chat. So thank you for all of your time tonight. I mean, what a treat to have you. So I'm going to go back to gallery view and unmute everybody so that they can say they love you and that they're glad that you're on here. So you guys are unmuted.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks,
Thank
Todd.
you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thanks, Todd.
Go say
Yeah,
hi and
thanks.
introduce yourself in San Antonio.
Oh, please. I'd love to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you so
Night,
much, Todd. Bye, you
everybody.
guys. Good night.
Bye. Thank you.